All right, everybody, welcome to Staying Safe Online from a hacker's perspective. We've got a lot of cool stuff we're going to cover today, from what are hackers to online best practices to AI deepfakes to how to handle online scams. So don't be shy, use the chat, and I'm going to hand it over to BSI Lab.
Yay! Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. I hope you're as excited for this as I am. Honestly, there's no better way to spend a Friday night than just chilling and learning something cool and something new. So hopefully you will learn something new and think that this subject is super cool. So first of all, who am I and why should you listen to me? If it wasn't obvious by the title, I am in fact a hacker. And normally that puts people off. They say aren't hackers bad, aren't hackers evil? But we're going to break that down in just a second, and I'm going to show you that not all hackers are bad. I'm currently 19 years old, so it's my last year being a teenager, going to be like an official adult soon. Totally nervous. I am the founder and CEO of Girls Who Hack. That is my nonprofit where I teach girls the skills of hacking so that they can change the future. I provide free online and in-person classes on all things intro to cybersecurity, and I love diving deep into these really cool topics. I'm an international speaker. I've spoken at a ton of different conferences all around the world, from here in the US to Canada, all over Europe, and even Saudi Arabia. So that's been pretty cool. I was the youngest speaker at Hope, which is one of the world's oldest hacker conferences. I'm a six-time speaker at DEF CON, which is one of the world's largest hacker conferences. It sees upwards of over 40,000 hackers a year in Vegas. That's like a lot of people. There, I actually run DC Next Gen, which is the official DEF CON youth initiative. So, any kids who want to learn hacking, teenagers who want to learn hacking, come to the conference and get to learn from me and all the other people. And it's really cool. It's really fun. Um, when I was about 11 years old, and this is what really got me into technology, I hacked a mock voting reporting system at DEF CON. It got like media attention. I got to go to a congressional hearing on election security because of my work doing that. And I just got to see like technology is freaking awesome, and I want to work in this field, and here I am now. For a while, I also interned for IBM doing something called penetration testing, which we'll talk about in a second, where I got to be paid to hack. Totally cool internship. Highly recommend getting some kind of a tech internship if you're interested in this field. First of all, though, why is security important? If you think about it, literally everything is tech-based. Even our fridges have screens now, which blows my mind. And a lot of us know how to use this technology. I mean, I'm pretty sure we all have phones here, but not all of us know how it actually works behind the scenes. Another important reason is to be able to help the old generation as well as the new generation. Because, I mean, think of it. You might have brothers and sisters who are younger than you, or you might have your grandma and grandpa who also need this advice as well. Now, the plan for today is to talk about good versus bad hackers, then talk about personal protection so you can protect yourself against the bad hackers, and then we're going to discuss some common attacks and how they actually work. Did you know you can be paid to hack? And I don't just mean like a gang reaches out to you and they're like, hey, can you hack this for us? We'll pay you. No. Actual companies hire people to hack them. Target, Amazon, Lowe's, all these big companies, they hire hackers. More specifically, penetration testers. A penetration tester, also known as a pen tester, is a hacker that a company hires to help them find their weaknesses. So, for example, over here in this photo, that is Jason E. Street. He's like a very notorious, cool hacker friend of mine. He gets hired by a bunch of different banks, yes, banks, to go and test their security. They hire him, and he goes to their different sites and locations and tries to hack into the building. He tries to steal information. He tries to figure out passwords, go past firewalls, do all these crazy things. And when he's done doing that, he goes back to the company and says, okay, here is a report of everything I found. Here are all your weak points. For example, you need a stronger password here. You need a firewall here. You need better protection here. And the company can then go and put protection in those places. So it's actually a good thing because once a real bad attacker or bad hacker tries to come in, the company has already protected itself against all of these different types of attacks that the good hacker showed are possible. There are two different sides to cybersecurity, and that's the red team and the blue team. The red team are the attackers, like the penetration testers. The blue team are the creators and the defenders. So, for example, the developers and the coders who are making the site. Purple team is both of them together. Sometimes they work together in order to better secure one system. So a company like Target will have red team employees and blue team employees. Now, I want to do something a little fun, and I want to do a little job personality test. We're going to read over these three options, and I want you to think to yourself which you resonate with most. And based on that, I'm going to tell you a job in cybersecurity that would be great for you. So, A, you give helpful advice, love getting to the bottom of issues, and make well thought out plans. B, you think fast on your feet, stay calm during a crisis, and are quick to find multiple solutions or causes to a problem. C, you are a social butterfly, always get your way, and prefer hands-on puzzles. So, message in the chat which one you think you are most like, A, B, or C. I'm definitely not B. I'm probably like either A or C. Okay, if you resonated with A most, you would be a good cybersecurity consultant. This is someone who is hired by a company to help them find issues and areas of improvement within their team and system. So the consultant will go in, see how the team is structured, see the sort of security they have in place, and say, hey, here are ways you can make this better. B, incident responder. This is someone who monitors and checks all the systems in the company to detect and stop bad attackers when they come into a network. So they'll be monitoring and see, hey, someone logged in here and they're not supposed to, and stop the bad guys in their tracks. Or C, you would be a good on-site penetration tester. This is a social engineering person, so someone who can manipulate people to get into buildings, find information, mess with equipment, while also using lockpicking and card shimming skills to get into top secret rooms and stuff. Sort of like my friend Jason I showed you earlier. Because you can be a penetration tester just completely online and log into a network and go hacking, or you can actually do it in person and test the security of a building. Okay, so we talked about good hackers, but as we know, there's also bad hackers out there looking for your information, your money, your personal data. How do we protect ourselves against these kinds of people? First things first, passwords. Everyone thinks they know how to make a good password, but let's break it down. One important rule is to not use the same password over and over again. So, like your Roblox account password, don't use it as the same password for your school account. And your school account password, don't use it for your bank account. As a hacker, the first thing I will do is I will find one of your passwords, know that it works, and try it on all your accounts. Because all too often, people just repeat using their passwords. It's also important to change your phone password like every month or so, especially since there's people out there who might be looking over your shoulder, like at school or at home or maybe somewhere you work, who might get access to your phone just because they memorized your password. Maybe it's just your sibling trying to play a prank on you, but it also could be someone trying to do something much worse. When you're making a password, try to make it a passphrase instead. So rather than something short that's complicated, something like that, you think it might be secure, but it's actually pretty simple to crack. Try something longer that's easier to remember. So for example, something that's easy to remember for me, that's not too personal to me. So it doesn't include something like my name or the year or my pet's name, would be this. I used to take swimming lessons when I was really little. I still can't swim, so they were kind of pointless. But I had this really cute bathing suit that was blue and had a unicorn on it. So, for example, a password could be blue unicorn be a swim. I capitalized all the letters. So it has 18 characters, it has numbers and symbols, it has some uppercase letters, and not to mention, some of the letters I changed out for symbols. For example, the S in swim is a dollar sign, and the I in swim is the number one. Because of those changes I've made, it's a lot more secure. And the fact that it's long, it would take a password cracker, which is a tool hackers use to try to break passwords, 1 million years to crack. So it's actually even more secure to have a long password rather than just a short, complicated one. So you're looking for long and at least a little complicated. If you want to know if your password is strong, you can use any of these websites listed here to check it. They don't store any of your passwords or information, but they will tell you how strong it is and what improvements you can make to it. I also recommend, if you don't remember your passwords, to use a password manager. These sort of tools create and store long, complex passwords and logins for you. And you only need to know one single password to access all your other passwords. That way, you don't have to memorize all these things. You don't have to like write it down and lose the notebook. Everything's all in one place. I recommend Bitwarden. That one is completely free, or 1Password, which is $36 a year, but it has some pretty cool features. Now, you may have heard of multi-factor authentication before, and I want to just emphasize how important it is. Multi-factor authentication is where something that you're trying to log into, for example, your email account or something like Instagram, will send you a text code to your personal phone and phone number in addition to you putting in your username and password. The reason this is so important is because I, as a hacker, if I figure out your password and try to log into your Instagram account or your email account, you will get a text to your phone with a code. And if I don't have that code, because I don't have your actual physical phone, then I can't get into your account. So it's an extra layer of protection. It does take an extra minute to set up and it does take an extra minute to log in, but that simple switch will protect you against bad attackers. And trust me, they are after you. When it comes to secure messaging, I highly recommend using an app called Signal. It is completely free to use, and all my privacy nerd friends, including the hacker, the good penetration tester I mentioned earlier, he uses it too. I use it, everyone uses it, is Signal. Signal is so good. Signal is end-to-end encrypted. What that means is that when I send a message, so for example, I send a message to Talia and I say, "Hey, are we meeting up later?" That message will then get turned into like garbly-gook. So if a hacker tries to capture the message as I'm sending it to her, they won't understand the message. But once her phone receives that message, she'll be able to read it and understand it. Signal also stores none of your messages in their personal databases, so you can be sure your privacy is secure. And again, it's free. Totally recommend. When you are on a website, or especially if you click a link from like social media, make sure to verify the link. And this takes literally zero point 0.2 seconds. At the start of every single web page, whether it's on your computer or your phone, you will see either HTTP or HTTPS. The difference between them is that the S is for secure, essentially. That's at least how I like to remember it. The S in HTTPS shows you that your interactions on the website are encrypted. So again, if a hacker tries to steal your password as you are transmitting your password to this website from your phone, it will be turned into gobbledygook, like shown here on the slide below, and the hacker won't be able to read the message. On some different machines, you might see a lock icon or an unlock icon. See, so it shows not safe, secure, or secure. So you can see the difference between those two there. Speaking of online shopping, please, please, please be so careful. I, just as much as anyone, love, love, love to online shop. I do it a little too often if I'm being completely transparent here. And especially as I'm spending time on social media, because to be frank, I spend a lot of time on social media. I see some things that I want, and I'm always tempted to just click the link nice and easy and go there. But it is so easy for hackers to make fake posts, but not only that, fake websites, essentially cloning a website. As a hacker, I can take a website like Amazon.com and make a sort of copy of it. It looks a little different, but you might not be able to catch it. You put in your credit card information and bam, you don't get your thing and I get your credit card info. That means that if you see something cool, so for example, you get an ad for a new purse, go to the actual website that sells that purse rather than just clicking the link. Speaking of social media, I know you know a few of the obvious things. Don't talk to strangers on social media and a few other things. So let me skip all that, but let me tell you the other things most people are not very careful about. And that's to be careful what's in your actual photos. As a bad attacker, an evil hacker, or even just someone who is very bad or perverted or, just not a good person, they will inspect every single little thing you post. They will zoom in on your photos to try to figure out where you live, what you like, who you live with, all of these other things. And I'm not trying to make you scared, I'm trying to make you prepared. So, for example, when you post a photo, make sure there's no street names in the background. If I see a street name, like on a little sign in the background of your photo, I might figure out where you live. Um, if you post a photo of you with your car, don't post the license plate because then I know exactly what kind of car you drive and I can confirm what car it is too. And also check, zoom in on your photos that you don't have any personal papers in the background of your photo. This could be maybe you accidentally left your credit card on the desk or you have a bill open. And I don't just mean these things about you. Make sure your parents know this too. I know my mom likes to post photos of like me when we're on vacation together and stuff. And I just have to make sure, okay, mom, let's check your photos and make sure you're not posting any personal information. You also might feel secure, but please, please, please post photos from after the event. Let's say you go to Disney for your birthday. That's like the coolest, most fun thing ever. And I know you want to post right away, check out where I am, check out what I'm eating. However, it's important to post once you get home because I can see that, oh, you're at Disney? I know you're not home right now. I can rob you. Or, oh, I see you're at that party right now. I'm a creepy stalker. I can come and stalk you because I know where you are at right now. And again, that sounds scary. These things do happen, but it's so easy to prevent it because you can just post later. I know. This is going to be the most annoying thing I say tonight, and you will roll your eyes, but please, please, please update and upgrade your machines. Security updates are based on current threats and attacks. Updates and upgrades aren't just there to make your phone faster or your laptop have a cool new feature. It's also the developers and coders of these machines looking back at their work and saying, huh, that is not safe at all. We need to push an update so when people install that update and upgrade their machine, that gets patched and secured. When it comes to apps, be very careful what apps you install, especially if they're game apps. I know there's a lot of really funny, weird games out there, and I do like to play them too. But why are they asking for permissions like your microphone and camera when there's no microphone or camera involved in the game? Pretty sketchy. If you hear or see something sketchy like that, just uninstall the app and don't even click OK. Make sure to protect your younger siblings with this too. I also want to mention using code words. So, a code word is a word you and your friends and family have together to know it's actually you while you're speaking with them. Deep fakes are very scary, easy to make. If someone finds a clip, like a video clip or any audio of you from any kind of video, maybe that you've posted before or your school has posted before, they can copy your voice and use AI to make it sound like you, or use AI to make something look like you. And since they're pretending to be you or pretending to be one of your family members, they can try to trick you guys into sharing like different personal information, maybe bank account information, or other really scary things. So, by having a code word, if you're suspicious that someone isn't actually who they say they are, you can ask them, hey, what's the code word? A code word should be something that's easy for you to remember and also personal and unique. So maybe an inside joke with a friend or a favorite food with your family. Just something only you guys would know and be able to figure out. Make sure to practice this code word with your family and friends by testing them from time to time, asking them, hey, what's the code word? Because you really never know, and it's better safe than sorry. Switching gears a little bit as we wrap up here, I want to talk about a few different cyber terms. So, a lot of them sound complex, but they're actually pretty simple. So, for example, virus, worm, phishing, spyware, ransomware. I'm pretty sure most of you have heard of at least one of them. If you've heard of any of these words before, type in the chat, yes, I have, or just yes, because I'm curious to see how many of you guys know any of these terms. Not necessarily how they work or what exactly they are, but at least know about them. So type that in the chat. I'm very curious. The first term is ransomware, and I put this here first because it's actually one of the largest cyber types of attacks and most popular ones, like to date. Ransomware is malicious software that is designed to block you from accessing your accounts and information until you pay a ransom. A ransom is essentially when someone takes something from you. So, for example, let's pretend I just stole your water bottle. And I tell you, hey, I'm only going to give you your water bottle back if you give me $5 by the end of tonight. That's a ransom. I'm taking something from you and I'm asking you to give me something so that you can have your thing back. When it comes to technology, that's usually a bad hacker taking personal files or information from you, maybe locking down your account. Like a hacker might take your and lock down your school account and saying, hey, you have to pay me money, you have to give me this information, you need to do this thing for me in order to get this back. One example of ransomware that was pretty scary and a pretty heavy thing was the WannaCry attack. This happened back in 2013, and the way that it worked is this bad attacker targeted hospitals all around England and shut them all down because they locked away patients' files. And without those files that are very important and contain information like what past surgeries the person has had, their bank account information so that their stuff can be processed, or maybe what allergies or what different things they need are, since all of that was locked away, none of the nurses and doctors were able to access that information. And this happened to hospitals all around, and it was starting to spread. Very, very scary. And a ton of people actually died because they weren't able to get the care that they needed in time since all of these files were locked away. Patients who needed help, like a little kid who might need a cast, or a person who might even just need a flu shot, or someone who needs life-saving surgery, might not have been able to get it at that time. Very, very scary, and this attack was done by just one person. How were they able to do this attack? It's because a lot of those hospitals were using an old version of Windows. They weren't updating and upgrading their machines like they were supposed to, so they were weak and not well protected. This hacker figured that out and was able to target all those machines. Thankfully, this awesome guy pictured right here, Marcus Hutchins, was able to stop the attack before it reached the US and take it down without governments having to pay this evil attacker millions of dollars just to give the information back. So, scary things like this can happen with these attacks, whether on a small scale, like just targeting one person, or entire governments and entire systems. It's very scary, but by doing safe practices like updating and upgrading, you can protect yourself, and big corporations and different places can protect themselves too. Another type of attack is spyware. That is tracking software, so tracking code that collects your data by reading your keystrokes. So anytime you type on a keyboard, whether that be on your phone or an actual physical keyboard, and your browsing patterns. So when you're looking something up on Google or Firefox, whatever it is, they're able to see that and see what you're doing. This is a very personal attack because it's usually not very detectable. I know that some YouTubers and especially V streamers, so famous people who don't show their faces or don't share their real names, have been targeted with this type of attack so that their photos can be leaked and things that they've seen can be leaked and they can be spied on through the camera on their phone or on their computer. This can also happen to you, unfortunately. So, how do you avoid something like this happening? Having good passwords, updating and upgrading, not using the same passwords in multiple places. You see how these very simple things, using multi-factor authentication, all of these things can protect you against some pretty scary stuff? Yeah, that's why you have to do it. Hacker certified information. Another type of attack, which isn't as popular nowadays, but definitely was towards the start of the internet, was called the worm. That is damaging software, so, evil, bad code that replicates and spreads. It essentially worms its way through an entire network, hence the name. The more it spreads, the faster it gets. It slows down systems, it damages files, and just makes things like impossible to use. Now, for a quick, fun little story, where did the worm originate? So, the Morris worm was like the official name of the first worm attack, was actually started by a student, a college student at Cornell University many, many years ago when the internet was first started. Yeah, so this is very old. Now, this student wasn't actually trying to make an attack. What they were trying to do was try to count how many machines were on the internet. At the time, there were only 19,000 machines on the entire internet. Now there's literally billions. So many. At that time, so few. But he didn't know how many there were. So he wrote a program that would jump from machine to machine and count how many machines there were. However, he was not very smart, honestly, and the code that he did write so that it would jump from machine to machine was so bad that it started breaking all these machines. Learning from this mistake, and especially since he took down like a third of the entire internet at that time, other evil hackers in the future copied this and used it as a real attack to take down entire systems. Whether that be a government system, a college system, a hospital system, pretty scary. Thankfully, newer machines are pretty safe against this. Next, let's talk about viruses. This is one I'm sure most of you have heard of. This is a type of malware that replicates itself by modifying other computer programs and inserting its own code into those programs. So essentially, let's say you have a box of code that your entire machine runs on, it will eat up those pieces of code, just break it apart, blah, 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 just break it and then stick itself in instead. Very similar to an actual human virus. One of the first viruses out there was the I love you virus, which sounds very nice, but it really isn't. The way that it would work is it was hidden inside an email file when email was even more popular than it is now. Once a person would open up that email, they would get the virus on their machine. Not only that, it would send itself. So it would send the same email to the top 10 email contacts you have on your machine. So not only did you mess yourself up, you messed all your friends up too. And that's why you got to be very careful what you click on, especially since you don't know where the message is coming from. How else can you protect against this? You can install an ad blocker. An ad blocker protects you against these kind of viruses since a lot of viruses are built into ads. Like if you click on an ad, you might accidentally get a virus. You can simply get a free browser plugin like Ad Blocker Plus or Malwarebytes Ad Blocker in order to stop ads. So you don't need to be bothered by them as they're popping up when you're trying to play games or just go and read an article. And not only that, it keeps you from accidentally clicking on one of those ads and getting a virus. If you want a bigger project, I would recommend getting Pi-hole. That protects your entire network. It's a fun and easy project, and you can see the instructions to set that up on adafruit.com. The last type of attack I want to share is called phishing. And yes, that is not a typo. It is actually spelled with a PH. So phishing with a PH is when a attacker sends emails or messages that seem legitimate but are actually really there to trick you into giving personal information by clicking on a link you shouldn't. So for example, if I'm an attacker trying to target a bunch of people and get their information, I would pretend to be Amazon. I'd come up with a fake email that looks like it comes from Amazon, such as amazongifts@gmail.com. And I will send people an email that says, hey, you want a free gift card? Click here to register for the free gift card. And people will say, oh, I want a free gift card from Amazon. They'll click on it, they'll put in their personal information. Now I can steal that and use it. There's also a thing called spear phishing. That is where an attacker targets one specific person with a phishing campaign. So, for example, I might want to target the CEO of a company. So, I will send the CEO an email pretending to be a different CEO from a different company, maybe wanting to collaborate or wanting to talk about something. Then they'll put their personal information and send it to me, and I can take over an entire company. The lesson here is that when you get an email or a message from a company, maybe it's like H&M or Amazon, like I said, always double check and see, does this seem suspicious? Because if it seems suspicious, it probably is. Over here is an actual phishing email that my dad, who works as on a security team for a big company, sent out to the team and tried to get people to click on it. And over half the company clicked on this phishing campaign. He didn't actually steal their information, though, no worries. Instead, he sent out information to all the people who clicked on this phishing email and told them, hey, take this training seminar because you just fell for a phishing attack. He pretended to be part of the brand team at his company and mentioned, oh, there's a new line of merch. We have excess swag that we need to get rid of, and we'd love to share it with you. Supplies are limited, so it's first come, first serve. Simply click this link. See how they want you to get you to click the link to sign in. That's how they get your information. And then complete the form with your details. Don't miss out. Act fast. The swag sign up ends today, so make sure to act quickly. See all the pressure that they're putting on you to try to get you to click this link right now, trying to make you feel rushed and pressured? Yeah, that did work on a lot of people at my dad's company. So learn from them and don't just trust everything you see, because hackers love to be sneaky. There's actually a ton of other ways that hackers are sneaky, and you're about to learn quite a few more ways from my friend Talia here with Take9. So take it away.
Thank you so much, BSI Lab. I'm super excited to jump into our next topic. Braving the scamiverse with Take9. Perfect transition for us as you prime phishing and kind of like what scammers want and how they get it. Hi, I'm Talia. I work on Take9, which is a national cybersecurity campaign that encourages people to slow down and take 9-second pause before clicking on anything online. Scamming is when someone wants your personal or financial information and tricks you into giving it to them, or they just straight up steal it. And scammers love to prey on young people because they think that we're inexperienced or too trusting or have FOMO. And they think that because we're digital natives, we'll just click on anything because we're so tech savvy, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, they're kind of right. The data is showing that we are getting scammed a lot. And by the end of this call, I'm really hoping that you'll feel comfortable spotting a scam and knowing how to protect yourself and others. My part of the webinar is going to be super straightforward. I'm going to bring us through what scammers want from you, how they're getting it, and what you can do about it. So, first of all, what do scammers even want from you? And what they want are the things that make you you. So I've dropped some clues in the slide here. So feel free to drop in what you see or what you think scammers want from you while we go through the list. Obviously, there's the stuff that you know is personal, your password, your banking details, your credit card, your social security number. But like BS Scilab said earlier, they also want personal things like your pet's name, your mother's maiden name, your best friend growing up, your home address, your birthday. And so anytime you're giving out things that make you you and true facts about you on the internet, you should really have your spidey senses tingling because anywhere you go on the internet can have a scam. So we're going to go over in the next slides some of the most common places that young people are getting scammed online and where they're being targeted. First and foremost, we have social media. Scammers want to build trust. They want to make things feel urgent. They want you to act without thinking. And how they get you on social media is by getting you really excited. Let's say it's your fake celebrity influencer DM or ads for fake brands or ads for heavily discounted products. Obviously, social media is fun. I think social media is fun. It's such a great place to keep up on my favorite celebrities, keep up with my friends, but scammers can easily tell who you're a fan of based on where you leave comments, what accounts you follow. Like for me, I follow all of these runner influencers. And if I got a DM being like, oh, check out this exclusive deal on running shoes, or oh, you can have access to my private Strava, like I would be enticed to click that link. So maybe it seems obvious that Taylor Swift wouldn't message you, but honestly, I have some Swiftie friends that would just be too excited, and that's what they're preying on. So there's a few things that you can do. First and foremost, slow down. Give yourself a second to check on the page. Like, is this who they say they really are? Is it verified? Do they have the right amount of followers that you were expecting them to have for how big of an influencer or celebrity they are? And also tell yourself, none of these people need your personal information. Like, if they're asking you for these kind of things over the internet, over DMs, you should be super suspicious. Ads and fake brands for heavily discounted products will pop up on your feed as paid advertisements, which is so annoying because you can't trust Facebook or Instagram or TikTok to filter these out. It's kind of been like this big problem um, that people are able to promote scams on social media. So even when you see the official logo or you see the real product in the store, you should from the store, you should really be suspicious of what we call too good to be true deals. This is like a 70% off discount. That just doesn't feel real, especially when it's such an expensive product or something really coveted. So you can kind of also tell that it's a scam because they want it to be super urgent. They want you to act now, buy now, or it's going to run out, which is a classic tale as old as time scammer tactic. And by slowing down, you can ask yourself those questions. Another place that people are getting scammed often is on gaming platforms, everywhere from Xbox to Roblox. And I'm going to focus on Roblox because it's a really good example. I know a lot of people use it. You might have a younger sibling that does it home, and it's really important that you know how to communicate with them that they should be suspicious. So scammers are hosting all of these giveaways promising free Robux, pets, or rare items. They'll ask you to share personal information or join a group or click a suspicious link to claim the prize. But it's like through YouTube or TikTok or something outside of the official Roblox avatar shop. And so you should just avoid them. Sometimes these limited time giveaways will actually install bad stuff on the computer and you won't even realize. So it's important that you and your family and your siblings and your community avoid clicking on them because it's just going around too much. It's prevalent. The next one would totally get me. All over the internet are really fun personality tests, and I personally am a big fan of a personality test. Like, I need to know what season I am. I want to know what cat I am. but sometimes scammers will design them to trick you into giving them all this personal information that we talked about, like slipping in what your pet name is on the cat questionnaire. And then this was cracking me up because I got it today. Coca-Cola is offering me almost $1 million for a sweepstakes that I didn't even sign up for. So my first red flag is like, I didn't even sign up for this. And then the other one is that I won something so big and it's in an email and look at this, like there's no swagger to this. It's almost lazy. So really avoid, ask yourself, did I really enter that sweepstakes? And then when it comes to contests, I know that there are fun contests out there on the internet, and you might be inspired or want to participate. And the biggest red flag on those is to make sure that you're not giving any money up front to participate, because that is definitely a scam. Okay, this one's kind of dark, but it's happening online and you all should know about it. Catfishing is as old as the internet, but deepfakes are making it way more dangerous. So, just like you can pretend to be anyone on the internet, scammers and creeps are pretending to be fellow young people to try and gain your trust. And you should be super suspicious of anyone that you're interacting with online, and make sure avoid giving like personal financial information out to people that you don't know, and just really hold it close to the chest. And there's one more element to this, which is you should really avoid trying to send pictures of yourself to someone that you are interacting with online that you don't know that you can trust as a real person. The same AI tools that are out there to make scammers convince you that there's someone that they're not can also manipulate the pictures that you're sending them. And I know it can be tempting, but you can never really trust who is behind the account that you're talking to. So maybe you use an avatar instead, or you skip it. And let's say you do happen to be taken advantage of online or know someone that does. It's okay. You'll get through it, and don't let them have the power. Instead, go see someone you trust in real life to help you solve the problem. Wow. Okay. So everywhere is bad, and we want to delete the internet. And you're like, what am I supposed to do about this? Should I never post? Should I never play? Should I never explore and have fun again? Um, of course, my recommendation is to live under a rock. Just kidding. No, of course not. There's so many benefits to the internet, and you should feel empowered to explore and be yourself. But know that the scams are out there. And now that you know what they are, you can know what to look out for. And the true nature of things is when you slow down, you're going to have so much better eyes for the scams that are out there. So they want you to act impulsively. They want you to click a link without thinking. But the number one most effective way to prevent from clicking on something that you regret or giving away personal information is going to be slowing down. All it takes is 9 seconds to stop and think before you click, download, or share anything online to protect yourself and others from getting scammed. In those 9 seconds, we can do all the things we talked about. You can verify that the account, deal, offer, opportunity is real or fake. You can be suspicious and ask yourself if it's too good to be true. You can protect your personal information and just say, "Hey, I'm not gonna give that away. I'm not gonna be tricked today." I might even use a fake first pet's name because I really want to fill out that survey. But the last one is just calling back to something that BSI Lab was talking about earlier. There are ways that you can protect yourself and accounts, strong passwords and unique passwords for everywhere that you are engaging online, turning on two-factor authentication. That way, when your password or account does get compromised, they still can't get access. So, thank you for coming on this journey with us. I hope you feel empowered and inspired to take 9 and bring it to your community.